I didn't expect to die that day. It was an ordinary morning, the kind of day that begins with a cup of coffee you barely finish and a to-do list you never quite conquer. I remember the smell of the air, clean, sharp, like rain had just passed, but left no trace. I had been driving, just running errands. And then everything went black. No pain, no warning, just a sudden, absolute stillness. The silence was the first thing I noticed. Not the absence of sound, but a presence of peace, like the entire universe had paused its breath. I wasn't aware of my body anymore. I was floating, or maybe falling, but there was no fear. Instead, there was a kind of pulling, gentle but firm, like something far greater than gravity was calling me home. Light. It began as a distant shimmer, soft and golden, far on the horizon of wherever I was. As I moved toward it, it grew warmer, brighter, not blinding but inviting. The kind of light that touches your soul before it reaches your eyes. I felt safe, known, loved. Then I realized I wasn't alone. Figures began to emerge from the light, some standing still, others moving toward me with the most profound love radiating from them. I couldn't recognize faces at first, but I knew them. Every soul I had ever loved, every person who had touched my life and left too soon, was somehow there. But beyond them, standing at the center of it all, was someone who made even the light seem dim by comparison. He didn't need to speak. His presence said everything. Jesus. He looked at me not with judgment, not with pity, but with the deepest understanding I had ever known. His eyes held galaxies, yet they focused entirely on me, as if I were the only one that mattered in that moment. I dropped to my knees, not because I was told to, because I couldn't not. And then he smiled. His smile was like the light itself, warm and healing, and I felt every worry, every fear I had ever carried, melt away. It wasn't just a smile. It was the kind of smile that reached deep into the marrow of your soul and whispered, "You are home." Jesus didn't say anything at first. He simply stood before me, his gaze full of compassion, as if he were looking into every corner of my being and seeing all of me, every part that I had tried to hide, every hurt that I thought no one could ever understand. And in that moment, I realized that not only did he see it all, but he had loved me through it all. He stepped forward, his presence filling me with a sense of peace so profound that nothing in the world could disturb it. He reached out a hand, inviting me to rise. I hesitated at first, but his eyes assured me. Slowly, I stood, feeling the ground beneath me more solid than anything I had ever experienced. "Welcome," he said, his voice like music, gentle but carrying the weight of eternity. "You are here for a reason." I didn't know what he meant by that at the time. I wasn't sure if I was dead or alive or something else entirely. But as his words settled in my heart, I knew that this place, this moment, was not a mere coincidence. There was a purpose in everything. He gestured to the space around us. The light was everywhere. There was no sun, no moon, just this ever-present, radiant glow that seemed to fill every inch of the air. But it wasn't harsh. It wasn't overwhelming. It was the kind of light that made you feel whole, like every part of you was in perfect harmony with the universe. "Come," he said, and I followed. We walked together, and as we did, I could see what lay beyond the glow. Vast fields stretching as far as the eye could see, beautiful gardens with flowers that seemed to sing as the wind passed through them, and rivers of crystal clear water that sparkled in the eternal light. But the most striking thing about all of this wasn't the beauty of the landscape. It was the people. There were so many of them. I saw children running, laughing, their faces glowing with joy. I saw elderly people, their bodies restored, walking arm in arm with their loved ones, their faces full of peace. There were people from every background imaginable, and they all wore radiant white robes. Everyone was full of life, their eyes bright and filled with purpose. There was no sickness, no sorrow, no weariness, only perfect peace. Jesus continued to lead me, and as we walked, I saw more and more. Some were gathering in groups, talking and laughing. Others were creating beautiful works of art, and still more were singing songs, songs that seemed to come from the very air itself, harmonizing with the rhythm of existence. Everything felt alive in a way I had never known. The trees, the flowers, the rivers, all of it seemed to pulse with life, as if the very essence of creation was breathing, moving, alive with the presence of God. Then Jesus turned to me with a knowing smile, as though he had been waiting for me to realize something. "This is heaven," he said. "This is your true home." As the words echoed in my ears, the weight of their meaning started to sink in. Heaven. This place, this unexplainable peace, was my true home. But even as I stood there, absorbing the beauty, a part of me struggled to understand it. How could a place like this exist? How could such perfect harmony and joy be real? I looked at Jesus, and his smile deepened, as if he could hear the questions swirling in my heart. "I know what you're thinking," he said gently, "but the heart of heaven is not in what you see. It is in the love that binds everything together. The light you feel, the peace you sense, that is the love of God, unshakable, infinite, and all-encompassing. It is the core of everything, and it is what makes this place real." His words were like a balm to my soul, soothing and answering the turmoil I had felt. He didn't need to explain it all, for somehow, as his voice washed over me, I understood on a deeper level than words could convey. We continued walking, and as we did, I could sense something changing within me. It was subtle, but profound. The layers of fear, doubt, and uncertainty that had once wrapped around my heart began to unravel. In their place, something new and unfamiliar bloomed. A kind of certainty, a kind of knowing that this was not a fleeting dream, but an eternal truth. The world around us seemed to reflect this transformation. The colors of the flowers deepened, their fragrance more intoxicating. The air itself felt more vibrant, as if every molecule of it was alive with energy. And in that energy, I could sense something else, something that made my heart ache with longing. It was the presence of those who had gone before me. As we walked, I saw glimpses of familiar faces, people I had lost in my lifetime, loved ones who had passed on, people whose names I had whispered in prayers and dreams. They were here, in this eternal place, their faces radiant with joy and peace. They didn't look as they had in the past, worn by time or sickness, but renewed, whole, vibrant, and shining with the same light that filled this space. Is this, is this where they are?" I whispered, barely able to breathe through the overwhelming flood of emotions. Jesus nodded. "Yes, all of them are here, at rest, in the love of the Father. All of those who sought him are here with him now." A sense of deep comfort washed over me, and I wanted to run to them, to hold them again. But something held me back, something I couldn't quite understand. "Why can't I go to them?" I asked, my voice trembling. "You will," he replied. "But in this place, time doesn't work as you know it. There is no separation here, no longing that cannot be fulfilled. The love of God binds all things, and you will be with them in the fullness of time." I couldn't fully comprehend it, but I didn't need to. The understanding would come, I knew. For now, just being in his presence, feeling the weight of his love, was enough. We continued our walk, and as we did, I saw more and more faces, more moments of beauty. At one point, I even saw a group of angels, their wings shimmering like soft gossamer, weaving in and out of the light, singing the same eternal song that filled the air. The sound of their voices was so pure, it made my heart feel light as though it, too, could fly. Jesus stopped and turned to face me. His eyes were soft with tenderness, and there was something in them, something that spoke of all the love he had poured into the world. "Do you understand now?" he asked. I nodded slowly, though my mind and heart were still reeling from everything I had seen and felt. "This is the eternal embrace of love," he continued. "This is the place where everything is made whole, where every sorrow, every pain is healed by the love of God. There is nothing but peace here, nothing but light." I closed my eyes for a moment, allowing the weight of his words to fill me completely. I had been so focused on the pain of the world, the struggles and losses I had endured, that I had never truly understood what was waiting on the other side. But now, standing here in his presence, I felt it. How all things are made right in the love of God. How every tear would one day be wiped away. How everything broken would one day be restored. Jesus reached out, placing a hand on my shoulder. "This is your inheritance, your future. You will one day return to this place where there is no end, only eternal life in God's love." As I stood there, gazing out at the endless beauty of heaven, I realized something profound. Though I was standing in this perfect, timeless place, a part of me still felt tethered to the world I had left behind. I couldn't quite explain it. Was it a sense of unfinished business? A lingering attachment to the life I once knew? Jesus seemed to understand my silent question. His gaze softened, and he smiled gently. "Do not worry," he said, his voice like a calm stream. "This peace will not fade. It is eternal, and you are always a part of it, even if you cannot see it. But for now, your path is not yet finished. There is still much for you to understand, much for you to share with the world." I felt a deep stirring in my chest. It was as if his words had unlocked something within me, a knowing that there was still purpose for me, even in this divine place. "Purpose?" I asked, looking up at him, still struggling to understand. "But I'm here now, in heaven. Is there more to do?" Jesus looked at me with a deep, knowing gaze, as though he were looking into the very depths of my soul. "The journey you began on earth has not ended. Heaven is not a place you come to escape. It is a place you enter when your spirit has been made whole, but your heart and soul still carry the story of your earthly life. That story, those experiences, will guide you toward the ones who are still walking their own paths, toward the ones still seeking the truth." His words left me in awe. I felt a powerful wave of understanding washing over me, as if he were revealing something I had known all along but had forgotten. "So, I'm not just here to rest, to find peace?" I asked, trying to process it. He shook his head slightly, his expression still full of compassion. "No, peace is only one part of it. You are here to become one with this love, to carry it with you, and to help others find it. Those who are still walking in the darkness need your light, Sarah. You have already begun to understand, but there is still much more to know, much more to share, and when the time is right, you will return." "Return?" My heart skipped a beat. "You mean back to Earth?" "Yes," he answered softly. "When the time comes, you will return, carrying this peace, this love, and share it with those still searching, still longing. You will be a beacon of the light you have found here. The journey of the soul is never finished. It is always growing, always becoming more. And those who have seen this light, who have touched the truth, are the ones meant to guide others." His words rang in my ears, and I felt a deep, resonant truth in them. This wasn't just about me, it was about all of us. those who have seen the truth and carried it with them, spreading the light wherever they go. But I hesitated, unsure how to ask the next question. How do I carry this love? How do I share it when I am still so full of questions myself? Jesus smiled, his gaze full of understanding. You already do, Sarah. Just by seeking the truth, just by being open to the love of God, you are already sharing it. It isn't about having all the answers. It's about living in the truth you've found. And when you live in that truth, it will guide others. It will heal others. You don't have to have everything figured out. You only have to be willing. I looked down, feeling both humbled and comforted by his words. Maybe it didn't have to be so complicated. Maybe all I had to do was live in the light I had been given. As I stood in this place of eternal peace, I felt a new understanding awakening within me, a clarity I had never experienced before. The weight of my old worries, the burdens of self-doubt, and the scars of my past seemed to fade away. It was as if, for the first time, I could see everything in its rightful place. I turned back to Jesus, a deep sense of gratitude rising in my heart. Thank you, I whispered. Thank you for showing me this, for showing me what real love is, for showing me what heaven truly is. He smiled once more, his eyes filled with such deep compassion that it almost took my breath away. Sarah, he said softly, you are already a part of this love. You are a child of God, always and forever, and you will never be alone. This place, this love, is always with you. It is inside you and around you, forever. In that moment, I felt it, the full embrace of heaven, not just in this place, but everywhere. The love of God was within me, within all of us. It was not bound by time or space. It was the foundation of everything. And then, with a final soft smile, Jesus took a step back, his hand resting gently on my shoulder. Come, he said, there is more to see, more to understand. Let us walk together. And with that, I followed him, ready to see where this divine journey would take me next. As we walked, I felt the world around me shift and change. The beauty of heaven seemed to stretch infinitely before us, with vast fields of light and rivers that shimmered like liquid glass. There were no words for it, no human description that could do it justice. It was as if time itself had stopped, leaving only the purity of love and peace. With each step, I grew more and more aware of a presence beyond what I could see, a presence that resonated within every blade of grass, every cloud, every breeze. It was the very essence of God, flowing through everything, binding all of creation together in a divine harmony that transcended anything I had ever known on earth. We walked in silence for a time, and I felt no need for words. Being in Jesus' presence was enough. His peace was palpable, enveloping me like a warm embrace, comforting me in ways I hadn't thought possible. Sarah, he said, breaking the silence, do you feel it? The unity of all things here? I nodded, unable to speak at first, overcome by the depth of what I was experiencing. Yes, I whispered, my voice barely audible. It's everything. It's so much more than I imagined. Jesus turned to face me, his gaze gentle and all-knowing. This is the truth of heaven. It is not a place to be sought or earned. It is a state of being, a state of love that is already within you. When you walk in the light, you walk in the unity of God's will. There is no separation here, no loneliness, no fear. There is only peace, only love. I looked around us, marveling at the landscape. It was unlike anything I had ever seen, yet there was something familiar about it. It was as if I had always known it, and now I was simply remembering. But, I asked, curiosity rising within me, if this is heaven, if it is peace and love, why do we struggle so much on earth? Why is there so much pain and suffering? Jesus paused, his eyes softening. The struggle you speak of is part of the journey, Sarah. Pain and suffering are often what lead us to find God, to seek the truth. They are the challenges that help you grow and refine your spirit. Without them, you would not understand the depth of love that is offered here. You would not understand the grace that you have been given. I thought about his words. It was hard to imagine how suffering could lead to something so beautiful. But as I looked into his eyes, I felt a deep sense of knowing. It wasn't about the pain itself. It was about what you did with it, how you allowed it to shape you, to bring you closer to God. But how do we help those still suffering? I asked, my heart aching at the thought of the pain still in the world. How do we help them find this peace? Jesus smiled, a warm, knowing smile. You already know the answer, Sarah. The peace you feel here is not meant to stay here. It is meant to be shared. You carry this peace within you, even when you return to earth. And by living in that peace, by living with love and compassion, you will help others find their way. The more you open your heart to others, the more the light of God will shine through you. This is how you heal the world, one soul at a time. His words settled deep within me, and for the first time, I understood. The purpose wasn't to try to fix everything, to make the world perfect. It was to live in the love that God had given me, to be a light in the darkness. And through that light, others would see the way. We continued walking, and I felt a sense of peace and purpose growing within me. The road ahead was still unknown, but for the first time I felt ready to face it. The struggles, the challenges, they were all part of the journey, part of the plan, and I wasn't alone in it. As we approached a large, radiant tree in the distance, Jesus paused and turned to me. This is a place of reflection, he said softly. Here, you can sit and understand more of the love that surrounds you. The journey ahead will be long, but you will never walk it alone. I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the path I was on, for the lessons I was learning, and for the love that was beginning to fill every corner of my being. Sitting beneath the tree, I closed my eyes and let the peace wash over me once again. I felt the presence of Jesus beside me, and I knew that the journey was just beginning. It was a journey that would take me back to earth, back to the place where the light was still needed. And when the time came, I would carry it with me. I would share it with the world. And through that, I would help heal the hearts of those still searching for the truth. As I sat beneath the tree, I felt a gentle tug at my heart. It wasn't a pull in any particular direction, but a soft whisper within my soul, a reminder that the time here was coming to an end. I opened my eyes and saw Jesus standing a few steps away, watching me with that serene, knowing gaze. Sarah, he said, his voice like a melody that wrapped around me, it's time. My heart tightened in my chest. The peace of heaven, the profound love that surrounded me. Could I really leave it behind? Could I return to the struggles, the pain, the uncertainty of life on earth? Jesus seemed to read my thoughts, and he knelt beside me. Do not fear. You carry the light of heaven within you. This place will never truly leave you. You will take it with you, and in your heart, it will always be here. Heaven is not just a place, it is a state of being, a way of living, and when you return, you will continue your journey, just as I promised. I looked up at him, my heart filled with a mix of emotions, sadness at leaving this peace, but also a deep sense of purpose. It was clear now that the journey was not just about my personal experience, but about sharing the love, the peace, the lessons I had learned here. I had been given this gift, and it was my responsibility to bring it to those still lost in the darkness. I understand, I said softly, my voice thick with emotion. But how do I begin? Jesus smiled, the warmth of his expression easing the heaviness in my heart. You have already begun. by seeking love, by choosing compassion, by living in the truth of who you are. You are already on the path. Just walk in the light, Sarah, and the way will unfold before you. With a final lingering look, Jesus stepped back, and the air around us seemed to shimmer. I felt my body growing lighter, as though I was being lifted from the ground. The tree, the fields, the river, all began to fade, replaced by a soft golden light that enveloped me completely. I closed my eyes, feeling my spirit drawn back to earth, back to the life I had left behind. I woke with a start, my heart pounding in my chest. The room was dim, and the faint hum of machines filled the air. I was back. I was alive. The pain, the weariness of my body, it all rushed back in an overwhelming wave. But beneath it all, there was something different, a peace that I had never known before. I sat up slowly, looking around the sterile hospital room. The harsh lighting, the quiet beeping of monitors, the sound of distant voices, it all seemed so distant now. I could still feel the warmth of Jesus' presence, like a comforting embrace that lingered around me. I didn't know how much time had passed since I had been brought back from the brink of death, but in that moment I knew something had changed. I had changed. I remembered the lessons he had shared with me: love, compassion, forgiveness. The light of heaven wasn't just a place, it was a way of life. And now, it was my turn to carry that light, to share it with the world. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy. There would still be pain, still be suffering, still be moments of doubt. But I knew now that I was never alone. The love of God, the light of heaven, would always be with me. And with that knowledge, I could face whatever lay ahead. I stood up, taking a deep breath. My body felt fragile, but my spirit was stronger than ever. I was ready to begin the next chapter of my life. And this time, I would walk with purpose. I would walk in love. Years have passed since that moment, and life has unfolded in ways I could never have imagined. There have been challenges, moments of doubt, times when I've stumbled and wondered if I truly understood the path. But with each step, I've learned more about love, more about compassion, more about the depth of God's grace. I've met people along the way, strangers, friends, family, each of them carrying their own burdens, their own struggles, and I have learned that the light of heaven is not just a gift to be cherished, but a gift to be shared. I try every day to be a reflection of that light, to live in a way that honors the peace and love I felt in heaven. The world is not perfect, but it is full of opportunities to bring light into the darkness. And each day I remind myself of the words Jesus spoke to me: live in the light, and the way will unfold before you. I am not the same person I was before. I am someone who has seen the truth, who has felt the embrace of God's love. And now, I carry that truth in my heart, sharing it with others, one small act of kindness at a time. The journey continues, but I walk it with peace, knowing that I am never truly alone.